Hi, everybody, and welcome. It's Friday, so it must be Connetics USA weekly show, Onwards and Upwards. Everything that a nurse needs to know about coming to live and work in the United States. My name is Tanya Friedman. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Connetics USA, and I have with me today a full house. We have Lauren joining us. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Tanya. Good evening, everyone from the Philippines.
Hi, welcome. We also have Stan joining us. Hi, Stan.
Hi, Tanya, and good evening, everybody. For those people who are watching, those people in our local, for both local and international community, welcome to Connetics USA.
Thank you. Thank you, Stan. Philippe, is it Philippe or Felipe? How do you pronounce it?
Uh, it's Felipe.
Felipe. Welcome, Felipe.
Hi, good evening, Miss Tanya.
Good evening. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are
Oh,
in the world.
good morning in the United States.
Oh, got it. Thanks, Felipe. And last but not least, Scott from Swoosh English.
Hi, Tanya.
Scott,
Hi,
welcome.
everyone. Lovely to be here today. And thanks a lot for letting me co host this session. Looking forward to it.
Welcome, welcome. So today's topic is the IELTS. This is a big topic, everybody. This is the one that hangs over everybody's head. All international nurses, if you are not trained in English, need to pass the IELTS. So today our topic is everything about the IELTS. The first half an hour, we're going to be talking to our IELTS heroes, Lauren, Stan, and Felipe, who are going to be sharing their experiences and their journey with the IELTS exam, the dreaded IELTS exam that they don't have to worry about anymore. And that's what we want for everybody watching. And Scott is going to we're very excited because Scott is going to be doing a 30-minute bonus class for everybody in the second half of the show. So let's and I also wanted to welcome everybody who is watching from all over the world. If you are watching today, please put in the chat your name and where you're watching from. We'd love to see who's watching all over the world. Onwards is watched by thousands of nurses all over the world. And if you have a friend who is not yet watching Onwards and Upwards, please encourage them to watch. So I see we have Sonel. Oh, Sonel has a question about the OET. So Sonel, we're going to answer that question for you. Brenz is watching from the Philippines. We have Lorelei. We have Quirath, who's watching for the United Arab Emirates. So lots of people watching from all over the world. Please, if you have questions about the IELTS, put them into the chat. If you are interested to come to the United States, please apply online to Connetics USA, and our team are on hand to help you with your journey to the United States. So Melody from Dubai, we've got Chatty watching, Elsa from Taiwan, Jenj from the Philippines, Nizran from Sudan, residents in Oman. So welcome, everybody. Okay, so let's get started. I think maybe it's a good idea for each of the panel to introduce yourselves. If you can give a brief introduction about yourself and a little bit about your background. Lauren, let's start with you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Del Mundo, and I'm a registered nurse here in the Philippines. So I took the IELTS examination last September 2021.
Okay, and you passed.
Yes, and passed.
Yes.
Yes. With the help of Swoosh with Swoosh and Connetics, of course.
Okay. Lauren, we can't wait to hear your story because I know for many nurses, the IELTS is more scary than the NCLEX exam. So we're very grateful to you to come on the show and share your experience. Stan, do you want to give us a little bit of background about you, about yourself?
Yep. Yes, my name is Stan, and I'm the founder and admin of Hurricane International IELTS Free Support Group. It is an international free IELTS and OET support group which aims to help both nurses for international and local community. And I took the IELTS examination last year. That was October, and I successfully passed with the help, of course, of Connetics USA and Swoosh English.
Okay. And Stan, we can't wait to hear about your initiative with Harkin. This is something really exciting that Stan has done to pay it forward for nurses. This is an incredible resource for nurses. And we just so admire your initiative and your heart, Stan, in trying to pay it forward for nurses. So thank you for joining us. And we're going to hear a lot more about Harkin in the next 30 minutes. Felipe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, good evening and good morning from everywhere in the world. My name is Felipe Lorenzo Austria, and also I am a registered nurse, and I just passed my IELTS 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Felipe. And thank you for coming on the show to share your journey. Scott?
Everyone, it's lovely to meet you. If you're not familiar with who I am, I'm Scott, Managing Director of Swoosh English, and we simply are an IELTS and OET online preparation academy. We partner with Connetics to actually bring our IELTS system as part of a paid scholarship to help you get to the US sooner and cheaper and faster. And I've been an IELTS teacher myself for numerous years too. So I look forward to hopefully seeing some more of you face to face in our live sessions and having as many of you come on board with Connetics USA and with Swoosh English to help you fill your IELTS exam, get you to the USA and fulfill your American dream. Simple as that.
Thank you, Scott. I see that Nazreen is saying in the chat, congrats to all the IELTS heroes. So Lauren, Stan, and Felipe, everybody is giving you a big round of applause to have got through this massive hurdle and sharing your journey. So let's start with the basics. Scott, what actually is the IELTS exam?
Good question. I'll answer it one thing. I'll answer it firstly by saying it's a huge hurdle. It's a massive hurdle in any RN or any healthcare professional, any professional at all, in their exodus overseas to the country of their dreams to begin their new life. But in terms of technically what it is, well, it's called the International English Language Testing System. It's a 4-part English language exam based on the skills of speaking, writing, reading, and listening. And of course, you have to get a good enough score as a medical professional, aka as a nurse, and to pass that part of the exam. It's based on a band score system from 0 to 9, with 9 being a native English speaking level of English, 0 being you can't speak much English at all. But most candidates need to get between a 6.5 and a 7.5 in each of the skills and overall to fulfill that aspect. The main hurdle that many candidates have in their IELTS preparation and passing the exam is, simply put, ineffective preparation, relying on the do-it-yourself approach, and even being a bit unrealistic about the timelines and expectations to pass in the IELTS exam within time. But that's where we at Connetics and Swoosh English can come in to help you to pass your IELTS exam simply, quicker, cheaper, and with less stress and frustration. And one final thing I'll say about the IELTS exam is don't overlook revision as part of it. It is a very, very crucial and underestimated part of your journey to the US as an RN.
Okay, so thank you for giving us that great overview, Scott. I see we have a question in the chat from Ishi, who's asking, what is the specific band to get selected as a registered nurse here in the United States? And the band score, Ishi, is a 7 in speaking, a 6.5 overall. So those different areas that Scott just spoke about, you need to get a 6.5 overall, and it's not an easy exam. In fact, if we put up the Connetics USA Success Path, this is something that you can find on our website. It tells you the different steps that you need to undertake in order to come and live in the United States. And in terms of the IELTS, how it fits in is, so you could pass the IELTS right away, when you do the NCLEX, but you don't actually need the IELTS in order to file for the green card. So if you get the IELTS, if you passed your NCLEX and you've prepared for with an employer, and then we file the green card for you, you can then do the IELTS anytime during that period. You need to have passed the IELTS before you get to the consulate the consulate interview, which is right kind of at that number 5 or 6 time frame. So that's really when we look at how the timing of when you need to do the IELTS. Okay, so Lauren, I know that you have had a journey with the IELTS. It's been tell us a little bit about your history with the IELTS.
Yes, I took the IELTS examination for the first time last December 2019, and it was not a walk in the park for me because I used a lot of resources for me to be able to ace it. Okay, so at first it was really a hurdle for me, but of course, with the help of Swoosh and Connetics, they really guided me um, tick off every milestone, which helped me to ace the examination. So every time I go off duty, I usually log on to my Swoosh account and um, of course, attend live classes together with our Swoosh instructors. Then after that, I'll use this learnings in my everyday practice with Sir Stan and of course Sir Bert and a lot of my IELTS classmates before.
Okay, so it's great because it seems like there's a community of nurses that are really
Yes,
helping
yes, it
each other.
is.
And
Yes,
that's where Stan's community has been incredibly helpful, as well as obviously the resources
yeah.
of Swoosh. Tell us, in terms of the IELTS, because you didn't pass the first time. What was it that you did differently the second time?
For the second time, um, I started to manage my time more. So I aside from having my self review, I usually attend the every Friday classes together with Alex. And aside from that, I also enrolled with 9.09er Heiser Irvin Review Center. So I would be able to focus more on what should I do and what should I focus more when it comes to my weaknesses and strengths.
Okay, so it sounds like you were much more organized the
Yes,
second time around.
yes,
Okay, so that's helpful for anybody who's watching all over the world to learn because taking the IELTS is expensive, and really what
yes,
we
it
want is for
is.
nurses to pass the first time. Stan, can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about your experience with the IELTS?
Wow. I mean, I'm so excited to tell each and everybody. First and foremost, I'd like to commend one of our Hurricane admin. We've got Lauren, who became one of the coaches. I'm so excited because from a small community when we started here in the Middle East, when I came back from the US last 2020, we started together with Sir Bert. Sir Bert is the father of Zoom session here in the Middle East. And we came across with Lauren, and I still remember that she's working in one of a colossal hospital in the Philippines. That I think that was St. Luke's, and we started a group, and from there it exponentially grew from one group to the other. And that's when I realized that by creating a group, we would be able to harness this huge examination. And looking back those years when we first started, it was quite hard and difficult because Bert would only give us a matter of 4 hours each and every night from Sunday to Friday or Thursday. Then Friday and Saturday, we need to be with our family. We need to go out to places. Maybe we could like divide some of those time. But then again, we need to divide most of our time in order for us to come along, because within 4 hours, we need to finish around 16 to 20 candidates in order for us to speak properly and to do the speaking practice. And
Wow.
from there,
Wow.
we
So
successfully made it.
how many people are there in the community, Stan?
Right now, the one that I started, which is Hurricane International, I started it last June, and less than a year, it reaches around 7,000 members. It's around
Wow.
7K with less than a year.
Wow.
And we've been working and partnered with one of the best, which is Swoosh English and Niner Review Center, and as well as Connetics, you can say, if you may.
Wow, Stan, that is incredible. So tell us how can somebody find your community?
Okay. It's quite an easy one. All you have to do is to type in Hurricane International IELTS and OET Free Support Group. It is an international community for both local and international nurses who would like to pass and ace their IELTS examination. And all you have to do is to look for Marcus Aurelius, or you could search for Lauren Del Mundo, which is one of our Hurricane admin. And we will be putting you in a group for your group assignment. We'll be assigning you then.
Okay. And then what can somebody expect if they join the group?
We cannot like promise anything, but with the help of the review center, because we couldn't even make it without the help of the review center, because I created a platform wherein we should be rightfully guided by review center, and I owe it to them. We don't cross the line. It's just that every time that they came to the platform, they need to go back to their review center, to their coaches, to their mentors, to their teachers. Then after they've been assessed, they would go back to Hurricane International, which we are conducting with. We've got a 24/7 speaking platform which aims to help and to hone your speaking skills. And after which they need to practice and go back every now and then in order for them to get the specific 7 or way higher than that.
Okay, fabulous. Stan, I think you, Lauren, Bert, the team, I mean, I just cannot say enough good words about you. To have this initiative and to pay it forward for nurses in this way is just spectacular, really. Thank you for everything that you have done and that you've contributed, because it's such a big headache for so many nurses. Felipe, tell us a little bit about your experience with the IELTS. You unmute, Felipe.
Sorry about that. My experience started last December, and I just passed the NCLEX at the time, and I was looking for a way to review for my IELTS because I knew that I needed it. And like Miss Lauren, I also enrolled in a review center aside from Swoosh English. So you can say that I didn't cut any corners in preparing for my exam because I really wanted to pass it for the first time, I mean. And and I prepared for a month or two. I mostly used Swoosh, I mean English for writing corrections, and I got confident when I reached a band score of around 7 or so. And the review center that I enrolled in, I used mainly to practice speaking, listening, and reading. Then March 19 of this year, I took the IELTS exam, and luckily I passed, and it was my first take.
Wow, that's amazing. Really, really well done, because to take it your first time and pass it your first time is a massive accomplishment. How did your life change, Felipe, when you saw that passing score?
My heart literally jumped. I mean, I was on duty when the British Council emailed me, and I was jumping with joy, interacting with my patients. I mean, I was like on cloud nine back then, until now, actually.
Okay. And so you should be. Lauren, what was it like for you when you saw that passing score?
Like Felipe's, Tanya, I was really jumping with joy, and I even shouted here in our house. So my neighbors are really, what's happening? So I told them that I just passed an international examination, and they were really happy for me.
Oh, fabulous. So wonderful. And I'm sure your life has changed since you passed
Yes,
the IELTS.
yes.
Stan, what was that like for you when you passed, when you saw
Um,
that passing score?
we were both at the car together with my wife, and we were checking at the mobile device. And when I saw that I passed, and I just mentioned, tell it to my wife, and she said, okay, So it's just okay. You got it. You got it. Okay. So I
She
thank God
believed
for
in you,
everything.
Stan.
Yeah. Okay. You made it. Okay. So because I'm so excited for this one. I mean, it's a huge relief for me because I wanted us to be reunited with our families and relatives, and you know our story.
Yeah.
I mean, way back in California. So we just wanted to finish the examination, and so that we'd be able to help as much as we can because this is who we are and this is what we do.
Well, we love that. And that's what we want for everybody who's watching,
Mm.
because that's what the Onwards and Upwards show is all about, is that we want people to have that jumping for joy, the neighbors coming to see, the wife excited, and so that you can move on with your American dream. Scott, we have a question from Sunil about the OET. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I'll try my best to answer that question as generally as possible. The OET exam simply is an alternative to the IELTS exam. It's an English language exam, but it's aimed primarily, actually, should I say, specifically for medical professionals instead. So it's based around the same core concepts of most English language exams, the 4 skills of listening, reading, speaking, and writing, but everything is medically aimed. All of the material is designed to be around medical consultations, role plays, writings, readings, journals, texts, whatever you want to say about that. And it's a very interesting exam in terms of its scope and its expansion across the USA in particular. For now, of course, IELTS is generally and universally available in most countries and most areas in the world, but the OET may become an interesting option eventually for RNs looking to come to the USA. That will take some time, but watch this space in regards to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for sharing that, Scott. The OET is a very interesting exam, as Scott has just explained.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, though, Sunil, you cannot use the OET as an equivalent for any IELTS or any language proficiency exam for the US. Only the TOEFL or the IELTS is applicable. So there are some states that allow you to take the OET, but as a whole, the United States requires the IELTS or the TOEFL. We had a question here from Elsa. So Elsa is asking, hi, everybody. How do you manage your time to practice with Swoosh when you still have a job, which means there's only 1 to 2 hours a day to study and practice? Lauren, how many hours a day did you practice when you were working on your IELTS the second time?
For my second try, I'm always making sure that every after duty I would allot around 2 to 4 hours depending on my energy level after duty. So I would be able to talk with my speaking buddies as well as to review my grammar as well and my writing skills, of course.
And which section of the IELTS did you find the most difficult, Lauren?
For me, it was writing because I don't usually write. So speaking for me is a bit easier because I try to speak to my patients in English so that I'll be used to it. And in writing, I usually got confused with the formats, but with the help of Swoosh, I was able to understand it well.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. And it's actually quite interesting, Lauren, because Scott, I think most international nurses battle more with the speaking, correct? Generally speaking.
It actually depends, Tanya, depending on a student's basic skill set and even where they're from as well. But writing is an area that is universally incredibly difficult with some of the lowest passing rates of any part of the IELTS exam. So I can understand personally where Lauren is coming from in terms of her writing woes, because everyone's speaking in English quite often. It's the one skill we want to perfect in developing English. Writing is often something that gets put to the side, and that's why when it comes to IELTS provision, there's a lot of makeup to be made in terms of getting those skills up to scratch.
Okay. Stan, how many hours a day did you study? And what was the part that was most challenging in the test?
Yeah,
For you?
that's a good question, Ms. Tanya. To tell you honestly, since we've been conducting the 24/7 speaking platform, I usually stick with my study plan, with my study guide, because Swoosh English is providing a study planner. So you've got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and every time that we went on to the Swoosh program, it is being conducted twice a day. So you get the chance to have a class in the morning and in nighttime. So what I usually does is that it's a daily communion. I consider it one of my religion, because I try to envision as much as I can in order
It's a
for me
good
to
way
get
to
what the
put it,
things that I
Stan.
want to. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So what I usually does is that I need to envision something. So I wanted to nail this examination within a certain month. I need to plan ahead of time, and at the same time, I need to walk on through the guidelines as well in order for me to know what I needed to do and what are the things that I needed to accomplish. So it took me around 3 months, more or less, in order for me to prepare together with the help, of course, of top-notch master teachers such as Scott Johnston. We got teacher Elsie Jensen. We've got Grace Bose, and the wonderful team at the background who's working. Swedish English is one amazing package for those people who were listening in the background.
Yeah. I love the fact that you called it your religion, because I think that's what it has to be for a few months. So 3 months was obviously your timing. And the good news for any Connetics USA nurse is that the English program is part of the Connetics USA care package, which is where we pay for the IELTS course for you. So this is our way of paying it forward for nurses. And then it's up to you. And Stan, as you said, it took 3 months. It was like a religion. And you really put your heart and soul into the preparation, because unfortunately there's no magic wand. Felipe, tell us about your study regime and which part of the IELTS was the most difficult for you.
Well, I stand corrected at what I said earlier. I prepared for around 2 to 3 months, and I made sure that I do some drills at least an hour to 2 hours a day for around 4 to 5 days a week. And mind you that I had to juggle work and review, so it was really tough because there were times that I had to study before I go to work. So it was really um how do you call that? It was really taxing on my mind, because that feeling that when you go to work already tired because you just had your review, I had to deal with that for what, 2 3 months, but it was all worth it. Oh, and about the review regimen, I made sure to have at least one listening and reading drills a week and around two writing drills, one for each task, because as we all say, writing is the most difficult one. And during the actual exam, I thought I nailed the writing, but unfortunately, I only got 6.5, but it's all right. Um, and I think what scared me the most during my exam would be the speaking part, because I usually don't speak at length, as I am a person who prefers to write and type. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Felipe. That gives a lot of good information about the specifics of the study regime. And Nazreen is agreeing with Lauren and Felipe. Yes, writing is really difficult. Um, so a lot of agreement from people in the chat. I'm just looking at the clock and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got so many more questions for our nurses to share their experience. And I know that we are at the half hour already. So Lauren, Stan, and Felipe, can you maybe share just 30 seconds, because we're right at the half hour and Scott's going to be doing his bonus IELTS class. What is your top tip for nurses that are watching right now, lying in bed, worrying about the IELTS and looking at you and thinking, oh, I wish I was you? What would you say is your top tip, Lauren?
Okay, so what I can say is that we should be focusing on our goal. So eyes on the prize. So whatever the circumstances may be, we need to focus, and we should not be disturbed by a lot of happenings around us, such as the pandemic, our personal problems, because at the end of the day, all that matters is our dream for our family and for ourselves. And of course, we should do, or we should materialize the steps that we're going to do, because if we're just dreaming, then we're not working. So we need to do that goal step by step, one at a time. Even though it's a little, it would still make a big difference at the end of the
Mm.
day.
Okay, I love that. So have a goal, work at that goal, and do it step by step. Okay,
Yes,
thank
thank
you,
you,
Lauren.
Ryan.
Stan, what is your top tip? 30 seconds.
Okay, so my top tip for each and everybody who's watching, I mean, if you had a goal and you had a dream, you need to chase it no matter what happened. So if your goal and dream is to move in the US and this is the only thing that is hurdling you, you need to stay committed. You need to stay focused and you need to dedicate most of your time, because the examination does only require you a small ample amount of preparation in order for you to nail this examination. And all you have to do is to put your heart onto it and try to do as much as you can. Divide your time and let's see how it goes, because there are a lot of people who are doing this examination. You just have to immerse yourself with group of people who are practicing the same way, who've been doing the same thing, who had the shared your common passion, the same common goal. And these are the things that I could probably share you. We've got a lot of candidates who are at the platform, and you are always welcome to, with the help, of course, of Connetics USA and Swoosh English.
Well, Stan, thank you so much for those words of inspiration. You have the biggest heart. You and Lauren and Bert and everybody who started this platform has the biggest heart, paying it forward for nurses. This is a resource for all nurses, and we are honored to have you on the show to you be able to share that with nurses and help them get through this big obstacle. Felipe, what is your top tip for nurses that are looking to come to the United States and need to pass the IELTS?
Well, they all said what I wanted to say, but I'll say it again. Eyes on the goal. And if you have a dream to go and work in the US, you need to have that goal and to singularly focus on that, because if you are distracted, I mean, easily distracted by everything that's happening around you, then chances are you would fail the exam. Because, in my opinion, IELTS is an exam of not just your English language, but also your maturity and your emotional control. Because, for instance, in listening, you need to understand what is being asked of the question, and you can only achieve it by by keeping your emotions at check, and thus you will answer the questions correctly if you know how to control your emotions. Because some venues might offer a lot of distractions, and you must be in control of how you answer your exam. And most importantly, when you go into your testing venue, you put on a big smile, and especially on the speaking part, you just converse with your examiner like he or she is your friend. Thank you.
Okay, those are great words of wisdom, Felipe. I love that. And so I'm just looking in the chat. Nazreen is saying, the only thing that remains for me is the IELTS, and I'm feeling stuck on it. Well, hopefully, Nazreen and any other nurses or medical technologists or any other healthcare workers that wanting to come to the United States are no longer feeling stuck after watching Lauren, Stan, and Felipe share their experience, their success, their hard work, because it was not a magic wand. It didn't just happen. And hopefully this show can be inspiring for nurses who are watching all over the world and want to come here to live their American dream. I'm going to finish off now and hand over to Scott, who's going to be doing our bonus class. So thank you, Scott, for doing
You're
that.
welcome.
We also have a slide that Scott is going to Scott is going to start with, which is the misconceptions about the IELTS. So Scott is going to go through this slide with everybody in a few minutes. But before we do that, I just wanted to let everybody know about upcoming shows. We have on Onwards and Upwards. Next Friday is the immigration Q&A with the expert legal panel. So if you have any immigration questions, please feel free to put them into the chat or join us next Friday, and we will ask as many questions as we can of the legal experts. And on the 15th, we have Stateside, which is we are talking to nurses who are living, or healthcare workers that are living in Maryland. What's it like to live in Maryland? On the 19th, we have the Lafora Talk Show, which is self-care for a nurse. Very important topic, how to take care of yourself, how not to burn out, whether it's now in the pandemic or just generally. On the 22nd, we have an NCLEX show, and on the 29th, we have our client showcase, which is Penn State, a magnet system in Pennsylvania. Our Connetics initiatives, just to finish off real quick, every nurse that comes to Connetics who is placed with a Connetics employer gets a free review course. Let me say that again, free IELTS scholarship for all Connetics USA nurses. So if you want to be like Lauren, Stan, and Felipe and pass the IELTS, this is a great opportunity. We also have our NCLEX scholarship, free NCLEX review for selected RNs. We have our $1,000 referral fee, which has been extended until the end of May. We have our podcast, which is in the top 10% of podcasts in America. We have also a direct hire program. Please watch our show every Friday, for global nurses coming to America. And we also have an allied division helping medical lab technologists, medical lab technicians, respiratory therapists, etc. So with that said, I want to thank Lauren, Stan, and Felipe for joining us today, for sharing your story. So inspiring, so encouraging. And we look forward to seeing you in America. We can't wait for you to see you in America. Lauren, where are you going to?
I was really surprised about the 15th because I'm going to Maryland, and it's a perfect topic for me.
There we go.
Yes.
Stan, where are you going to be going to?
Of course, in California, hopefully.
Okay. We'll see you in California, Stan. And Felipe,
Yes.
where are you going?
I'm going to Texas, under Wheeler, Scott and White.
Okay.
Really hoping.
Yay for all our Connetics USA nurses. If you are not yet signed up with Connetics, please join the Connetics. Please put your application on the Connetics USA website, and our team will be able to help you and see you in America. So over to you, Scott. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please stay on as Scott is going to take you now through the bonus class. And thank you to Swoosh English for all that you do, for the amazing hard work, the dedication that you provide for healthcare workers around the world. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, over to me. It's lovely to have you guys here today. As I said, my name's Scott from Swoosh English, IELTS teacher for many years and managing director at Swoosh English as well. And of course, we help Connetics USA with any IELTS applicants coming through their scholarship system as well. So what we're going to do today, well, we're simply going to actually start off today by doing a bit of mock speaking practice. As we identified today through many of you guys in the comment box today, and what we talked about in the first half of the session is, well, we're simply going to do some mock speaking practice. No doubt many of candidates struggle a lot with their IELTS speaking, and I want to give one lucky candidate today a bit of a chance to do some mock speaking with me. So you will see, if you are on the Facebook channel, there will be a link coming in a minute. That link will have a link that's called StreamYard, and that will give you a chance to come into the studio today to have a chance to do some mock speaking practice with me one-on-one through an entire IELTS speaking practice test, part 1, part 2, and part 3. I will, of course, give you all some qualitative feedback on the IELTS speaking practice today. As you can see, the link has been dropped in. It says StreamYard. Click on the link, come into the studio, And make sure, of course, you've got your camera turned on. I like speaking to a person, not to just a voice. That you've got a good quality mic or headset of some sort. Your background is ideally quite quiet with little ambient noise. And of course, you've got a sufficient internet connection as well. So do not be afraid to practice your speaking with me today. I'm going to try and make it as fun and interactive for you as possible. I want you to enjoy this experience as much as possible as well. So if you're feeling in any way anxious, just be aware that is incredibly natural, especially when you're doing something in front of someone. Use those nerves to your advantage when you're coming into the session today to do the speaking practice. If you don't get a chance to do some speaking practice today, it's not a problem, because you can learn a lot from actually watching and listening to a speaking consultation with a candidate. Take down notes on the candidate's feedback, reflect upon your own feedback while doing so, and of course, think about your own mock speaking practice and how you can do so as well. And of course, if you enjoy what we do at Swoosh English and you're an RN coming to the USA at some point in the near future, well then you're getting a little bit of a taste for what we can do at Swoosh English for helping you with your IELTS preparation from beginning to end. So guys, I'm waiting for everyone to come in. The link is there. Click on the link that says StreamYards. When I see some of fellow candidates come in today, I am going to pick one lucky person to have a chance to do some speaking feedback with me. Okay, we got some candidates coming in. Fantastic, good. I thought I had scared everyone off with the chance to do so. But we've got a candidate called Huna has joined us today. Hello, Huna.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening to you. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
That is great to hear. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Hello, my name is Huna. I'm from Philippines. I'm 32 years of age and I'm also a nurse working in a cruise ship.
On a cruise ship. Do you like
Yes.
working on a cruise ship? It sounds really, really luxurious.
Yes, it is, and it's also quite fantastic working and traveling at the same time.
That is amazing. Well, I'm happy to hear that that's going well for you. So you're from the Philippines, right? What part of the Philippines are you from?
I'm from Nueva Ecija.
Lovely. I haven't been to the Philippines, unfortunately. I did spend a lot of time living in Vietnam in Southeast Asia, but you know what, Huna? I didn't go to the Philippines. Is that a
It's
really bad choice? Was that a really bad choice on me not to go to the Philippines? What do you think?
it depends. It depends if you like tropical tropical country because it's really hot in here actually. Right now
Sure.
in our place, it's
Oh,
42 degrees Celsius. I don't know if you would like it here.
look at me with my
Yeah.
white, pasty skin. You know, I would melt in the Philippines in 42 degrees. But I sincerely regret not going to the Philippines when I lived in Southeast Asia, but I will get a chance to visit your lovely country someday and see all of my lovely Filipino friends there at some point. I'd love to. Huna, are you currently preparing for your IELTS exam?
Not yet, but I actually love to learn because actually I feel very weak in speaking, writing, and everything.
Good, good. Well, the most
Yeah.
important thing is get your IELTS preparation off earlier than you think you should. As often it does take a bit longer than you might think. There's also lots of other things which can affect your IELTS progression at any point. You know, life can throw lots of curveballs at us. We might be very busy people. We have lots of things to juggle, and there will be sticking points that most candidates find in their IELTS preparation. So get it off to a good start, I would say.
Yes, thank you. And actually, I have a little bit of like emotional damage
Mm,
because because of I have a very low self confidence in speaking. One can I tell a short story only? This is a short story.
of
when I
course.
applied in when I applied in a call center in the Philippines, they told me, "Oh, you did not pass because you have a very native accent." I don't know if it
Mm.
matters in IELTS. I don't know.
Well, that's a common myth. There actually is about the IELTS exam that your accent will actually affect your score. That is
Oh.
simply not always the case. The only way an accent might affect your score is if your accent affects your intonation and your pronunciation. But because you speak with an accent from the Philippines doesn't mean that you can't get a high enough score. That is not the case. So what do lots of candidates do, Huna? They try to sound like an English person, an American person, an Irish person, an Australian person. And it just sounds really, really bad. My top tip for that would be just to neutralize your accent as much as possible. Draw out your sounds, speak a little bit slower, and think about your intonation and pronunciation. Huna, can I tell you a secret?
Yes, please. I would love to.
Sure, I am neutralizing my accent right now. So everyone does it. Even native English speakers do it. It just makes our accent just sound clearer, more concise, and more crisp. So that's what I recommend to you. If I have to do it, then you can do it as well. Neutralize it as best as you can. Draw out your sounds, speak a little slower, right?
Right. Thank you so much for that secret.
You're very welcome. Hope everyone else got that secret too. Neutralize your accent as much as you can, but you will not need to speak with a native English speaking accent. But of course, get feedback if your accent is impeding upon any aspects of your speaking score. So Huna, are you familiar with the format of the IELTS exam, the speaking exam that is?
Actually not.
Nope. Well, we're going to go through it today. Not a problem. There are 3 parts to IELTS speaking. There's part 1, general questions about you and your studies, your work, your habits, your friends, etc. Then there's a part called part 2, in which you have to plan a response and speak for 2 minutes. I will guide you through it when we get to that part if you're not familiar with it. And then part 3 are slightly longer, more discursive questions. Doesn't matter if you're not familiar with the format today. The important thing that we'll do is you have to do is just enjoy the experience as much as possible, learn from it as much as possible, and have a chance to practice and show off your speaking, right?
Right.
So,
Scott,
Huna,
so sorry. I need to leave now. My baby's awake and I have a baby actually. I really love to talk to you, but my baby awake and I need to.
Oh, okay. So someone else is going to join me today. Not a problem,
Yeah.
Huna. It was nice speaking to you. Nice speaking to you overall.
Thank
Take
you
care.
so much.
Nice speaking to you. Good luck with your IELTS preparation.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, well, let's get stuck into a candidate now who actually is going to do some speaking with me. And I see someone there with the camera turned on, so I'm going to assume that they want to join. And her name is April. April, I'm going to turn on your camera in 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Hello, April.
Hello.
Lovely to meet you, April. How's everything with you?
It's cold today, and I know it's already spring, but it's really, really, really cold.
So you're not in the Philippines then, I assume?
Nah, I'm from the Philippines, but I live here in Japan for half of my life.
Lovely, lovely. So it's very nice to meet you. Tell me a bit about you and your IELTS preparation, what your goals and aspirations are.
So I just passed my NCLEX and I was trying to prepare for my IELTS, but I don't actually know where to start.
Start from the very beginning. Start making that first steps towards preparation and take appropriate preparation. That would be my first goal for you. And you've taken that first step today by coming.
Yeah, I'm actually ready to sleep, but then I checked out Connetics USA, and then I saw the red button, and then I just click it, and then
we've got you now. We've got you now. You can sleep in 15 minutes time, okay? Because I want 15 minutes of your time to do a little bit of mock speaking practice with you today.
I'll do my best.
You will do your best.
I haven't been speaking English like for 6-7 years now. Just pure Japanese 24/7.
Lovely. Wow.
I don't know.
You're amazing. Obviously, you speak probably Tagalog, I would assume, Japanese, and also English as well. Amazing.
Yeah, English is like...
I don't think so for a second. I don't think so.
I don't know. But I'll do my best. I need
to
pass the IELTS.
If you do, and I want to give you some assistance today with that. So first question I have is, are you familiar with the IELTS speaking test format?
No, actually this is my first time.
All right. Well, let's start off with I'm going to ask you a few questions on part one of the exam. And part one is just kind of like simple questions in regards to you and your studies and your work and other answers as well. My rule for this speaking session today is to just enjoy it as much as possible. Keep your answers somewhat concise for part one. You're talking about 2 to 3 sentences per answer, about 20 seconds or so per answer. Okay. I've got my pen. I've got the red pen out as well. The red pen is out. So I'm going to be writing down a few comments here and there to give you some feedback overall at the very end. How does that sound for you?
Okay.
All
I'll
right,
do my
April.
best.
Awesome. That's what I want. Your best is always good enough. So, April, can I ask, how do you usually spend your weekends?
Weekends. If it's usually I work on weekends, but if I got a day off on weekends, I usually go outside, especially this spring. It's cherry blossoms everywhere, tulips everywhere, so I'm going here and there and taking pictures because it's probably this is going to be my last spring. So I'm really going to miss Japan. So whenever I get a day off, I'm doing my best to just go outside and just not house work
Lovely.
and bed.
Good answer. So which is your favorite part of the weekend?
Favorite part of the weekend? It is going outside. Like I don't want to be stuck up in my bed because it makes me feel depressed, especially in this season where it's really really cold and I live alone and I don't live with my parents. They're all the way back in the Philippines. They don't want to come here, so I live on my own. I have a few friends, but as you nurses cannot have like the same day off. So I usually go outside on my own, join a group, and just enjoy.
Lovely. So how important is it to have free time at the weekends, in your opinion?
It's free time on the weekend is really really important to me since I work in the hospital, which is very very stressful.
Mhm.
Stressful because we are working with patients, we are working with lives. Plus, in my case, where I live here in Japan, and I do speak Japanese, but it's not as perfect as a native speaker Japanese. So it's like double stress to me, for me.
Lovely. Okay, that's a little mini part in part one. Well done. We're now going to move on to part two of the IELTS exam. And for part two, ideally, I would like you to have one of these and something like this. So a pen and paper or something you can write down some notes on. It could be your phone, it could be your computer, etc. Post-its are also great if need be. You come prepared today, April. That's absolutely amazing. So what is the format for part two of the exam? Part two of the IELTS exam is called the long term. So in a moment, I am going to put a cue card on the screen, okay? And this cue card will have a series of things that you have to prepare an answer for. You will have 1 minute to prepare your answer, and then you will have to speak for up to 2 minutes about your answer on a given cue card. Okay, so think about how you can expand the points on the cue card. How can you speak about them fully? But you don't have to just speak about what's on the cue card. You can expand it, even think of more than one example if you want. But the most important thing for anyone, keep it simple, speak for the full 2 minutes as successfully as you can. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. Here is your cue card. Can I confirm that you can see? It says describe an important event in your life. Okay. So April, I'm going to start the timer for 1 minute. You can write down some notes preparing your answer, and then you will speak for 2 minutes. Is that all okay for you?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, and your time begins now. So everyone, while April is preparing for her IELTS speaking prompts, why not prepare yourself? Why not take down a few notes as if you're doing this cue card yourself? Practice a really, really important part about IELTS speaking, and that is part 2 preparation. Okay? Imagine you're doing this response yourself, and imagine you're looking obviously to give April some feedback on this session today as well. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ding, 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 ding. Preparation time is up, April. Probably the longest or the shortest 1 minute of your life, depending on how you feel.
It's the shortest 1 minute of my life.
Of course. So April, now over to you to begin speaking. I'm going to start the timer for 2 minutes. I will stop you at 2 minutes. I want you just to expand upon the notes in the card as clearly and concisely as possible. Number 1 rule, do not stop speaking. Are you ready?
Sure. Yeah.
Fantastic. Ready. Okay, let's go in 3, 2, 1.
So my lifelong dream has been to work in the United States, and when I graduated in 2009, however, but the requirements was to have at least 1 year experience in the nursing before becoming eligible to apply for an agency. So additionally, my parents did not have the resources, so I gave up on that dream. And in 2016, I decided to move to Japan, work as a nurse here, took the very, very, very difficult nursing exam, and in doing so, I was able to save up. And just in summer last year, I decided to get out of my comfort zone, applied for the NCLEX, and when I passed the NCLEX, I was actually very surprised because I just after the test, I was crying. I was expecting I won't be able to pass. So when I applied for Japan, I did it on my own. I don't have friends with me because I don't know. I don't have friends who are interested to be a nurse here in Japan. But since it's one of my lifelong dream aside from my American dream, so I decided to just apply. And when I got here, the first 3 years was very, very like lonely and very like it took me a year to adjust to the culture, to the language, but eventually I was able to adjust, and I was able to do what you call that
And that is time, April. The 2 minutes are up.
That's the shortest 2 minutes of my life.
So it was the shortest 1 minute and the shortest 2 minutes of your life as well. IELTS has a habit of doing that.
Like I want to say more, but to compress it into 2 minutes, I don't know how to do it.
Well, you don't have to necessarily compress it into 2 minutes as long as you're speaking appropriately within those 2 minutes. Well done. So that is the end of part 2. Now let's finish off by asking a few part 3 questions to finish off our mini IELTS speaking prompt today. So I'm going to talk about skills as our topic for part 3. Okay, these answers should be slightly longer and slightly more discursive than part 1. You might be asked to give an opinion or your viewpoint and back up with some examples on some of these questions. So not so much about you, more about your opinion and stance on a wider topic. Okay, so question 1. What skills and abilities do most people want today?
Today? I think it is, well, in my opinion, I think is like being able to speak different languages.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know, nowadays people like to travel. And in my experience, traveling in a country where you can't speak the language, it's really hard. And I've seen people who are studying this language, studying German, and then they just like stop in the middle, and then they want to start studying another language, and then stop in the middle. Like, I don't know. But I think it's one of the skills that people nowadays wants to acquire, but they are lazy to like start it and then finished it.
What skills do you think are important for children to learn at school?
To learn in school, well, what I've learned here in Japan is children here were trained differently compared to the Philippines and the any European countries. So uh one of the like skills that they've learned here and they carry as they grow up is just it's very simple, but people can't like do it. It is being polite. Like, Japanese are known to be polite, and that's because they were taught from like 3 years old to this to high school, college. Like, it's different from where I came from. Yeah.
And one final question for you. Which skills do you think will be important in the future?
In the future, skills is probably being able to communicate to other people, especially with, I don't know, especially with my job, and especially with what's going on in the earth. I mean, communication, being able to communicate is like one of the best skill or best quality a person can have, especially especially in my job, because I work as a nurse. If I won't be able to communicate to my patients, to the family, I won't be able to continue the care from admission to discharge to home care. Like, I have home care, not home care, but admission to discharge. Yeah.
Lovely. That is the end of your IELTS speaking
It's
test,
really
April.
hard.
Well, apart from really hard, how did you find that little mini speaking session that we did there?
Actually, today it's 4 degrees Celsius, but I feel like it's -8.
So you've gone really cold inside from the nerves
Yeah,
that you've had from this
really,
session.
really nervous.
All right. Well, I think you did really well. So well done for doing that, especially that was your first time.
Yeah,
I'm going
it
to
is my
share.
first time.
Amazing, amazing. You know, I mean, that's your first time onwards and upwards every single time. We're on a show called Onwards and Upwards. So let's apply that principle to everything that we do in life. So I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to go through some of the IELTS feedback categories that we have. Okay, so you are assessed on 4 main areas when it comes to your IELTS speaking. That is pronunciation, fluency and coherence, grammatical range and accuracy, and lexical resource. Okay, let's go through them one by one. So pronunciation. How was your pronunciation? Was it accurate, natural, and easy to understand? Really good. Really good, your pronunciation for the most part. I only picked up one small pronunciation error, and it was the word culture. What what a lot of students throughout the world, especially those who are from Latin countries or have Latin cultural history, like the Philippines, I hear words like culture. Culture. So you said something that sounded a bit like culture, but it's culture. Can you say for me, April? Culture.
Culture.
Much better. Now say it 3 more times. Culture, culture, culture.
Culture, culture, culture.
Culture. Sorry for that, your pronunciation was one of your strong points in this. So well done. Second category is your fluency and coherence. So I ask, did the speaker speak at a natural pace that wasn't too fast or too slow? And did they use language to logically connect ideas? Once again, I think your fluency was great. You were able to maintain speaking. It seemed to be quite easy for you, maintain a natural rate of speech. Yes, there were some ahs and ums and uhs in there as you were probably searching for your next topical point. So I think a bit more organization on your behalf could have been there. But I think that you're able to speak quite fluently from A to B. Okay? Now, what you could do a little bit better is use more language to connect your ideas together. There was, and this is quite idiomatic of you, you use words like. That shows a good idiomatic knowledge of English. But you want to improve upon your linking devices, a range of them that are IELTS specific. Okay, so that will be coming into improving your vocabulary a bit more. Okay.
Yeah, actually, that's my problem. Vocabs.
Vocabulary.
Even with Japanese vocabs.
Yeah, I have written that down. Expanding your vocabulary range in terms of your topical vocabulary, as well as your cohesive devices that you will use to link your sentences together from A to B as well. And that's where we at Swoosh can come in. We can help you prepare for that. How about your grammatical range and accuracy? Pretty good. It was pretty good overall, but I did pick up a few small errors here and there. For example, you said, I expected I won't be able to pass. I expected I won't be able to pass. Are you aware of the error there?
Yeah, I know it's grammatically incorrect, but I don't know where it's the incorrect one.
So I expected, past tense verb, I wouldn't be able to pass rather than won't. Wouldn't
I
correlate
expected
with
I
pass,
wouldn't be able to pass.
whereas you said won't. So you need to obviously use wouldn't instead of won't in this case.
Okay.
Secondly, I don't have friends interested. I don't have friends interested. So there's a little bit of a
I don't
gap
have friends who are interested.
who are interested, right? So you were missing the use of your pronoun and your auxiliary verb there as well, just to make it logical and cohesive. You said, what of my lifelong dream? One of my lifelong dream.
One of my lifelong dreams.
So that could have been a pronunciation error, or maybe you just didn't pronounce that S, but one of means more than one. So you need to pluralize the object of your sentence to dreams. Okay.
Yeah.
One more. One of the best skill and quality.
Skills.
Skills, qualities. So be very aware of that, April. Think about when you're using certain words. If you're using them in the plural, draw it that sa sound. Sa, sa, sa. Best skills and best qualities. Okay?
Okay.
So a couple of small errors here and there, but cohesion, and it could have been a minor pronunciation error too. Okay. So final section, Lexical resource. Did you use a range of appropriate vocabulary accurately? You did use a lot of vocabulary accurately, but I think you need to expand upon that a bit more. I said use more topical vocabulary to expand the topics, and also use a greater variety of vocabulary as well. It's a little bit more complicated and can also be used as cohesive devices. So your strengths are your pronunciation and your fluency and coherence. The two areas that you should work on would be your grammatical range and accuracy. Start using more perfect tenses and a variety of tenses too, and really expand upon that vocabulary a bit more too. One more thing I would say would be something you should work on is keeping your answers focused, more focused on the topic, you know. You did obviously speak at length a few times. I thought maybe we can keep that on topic to the answer itself. Okay. But overall, it was a good speaking response, especially for your first time. It's a great point for you to be at, it being your first speaking point too. With a bit of refinement, will get you there to that 7 or above.
Yeah,
How do you feel
hopefully.
about all of that?
I was nervous.
But do you feel good?
I feel good now because I'm done. It's over. It's
Now you're
over.
like, I've spoken to Scott, sorry. I can go to sleep now, right? But no, well done. You've got a lot of energy, warmth to you as well. You've got a nice disposition. You're chatty, you're friendly. Bring those strengths into your IELTS preparation and the IELTS exam itself. And if you like, we at Connetics and Swoosh English can help you get there too.
I will do my best.
Your best is always good enough, April, as I say. It is always good enough. It's been lovely speaking to you today. Thanks a lot
Thank
for
you
coming
very
along.
much.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure speaking to you today and giving you some IELTS speaking practice. Best of luck with everything. Enjoy your sleep, and I'll hopefully speak to you again soon.
Okay, good night.
Good night. Rest up.
Thank you.
So guys, that was April. Hope that you enjoyed the speaking session that April did today. And throw in some comments into the chat box, guys. Let me know how you thought that she got on. And even use this opportunity to reflect upon your own speaking practice as well. Throw some comments into the chat box. If you're watching on the Connetics Facebook channel or the YouTube channel, maybe you're even linking into us on the Swoosh English channel as well. Come along, give us a comment, see how it went as well. So guys, before I get on to talking about something very, very special at the very end of this session, I will be speaking about a very common topic to finish off this session, and that is common IELTS misconceptions. See, sometimes I even lose my fluency as well. I'm going to talk about some common IELTS misconceptions here as part of the session, okay? These are all myths I'm going to bust for you right now. The first thing is that there is a misconception that one testing center uses more difficult test papers compared to other test centers. That is simply not the case. IELTS is highly standardized. By standardized, everything has been designed to be the same. So going to a different test center, maybe you heard from someone, oh, that was easy. Another friend said that was really difficult. That's not because the material is any harder or easier. There is no difference in difficulty. It is all the same. Common myth number 2. It is easier to pass the exam when you take the test in a specific country. That is also not the case, and it's really for the same reason as point 1. Everything is standardized. Everything is produced by an in-house global IELTS production team. It's not produced by different centers, so every single center has access to the exact same material, the same format, and the same procedures. So in the Philippines, it will be as hard and as difficult as doing it in the UK, for example. No easier or no harder. Thirdly, native English speaking examiners are more lenient in the speaking subtest. Have a guess why I'm going to say this is false as well. Once again, standardization. A native English speaking examiner will be conducting the test in the exact same way as a non-native English speaking examiner. The examiners who listen to your response will be scoring you according to the same standardized criteria, the same standardized rubric as well, and it's all checked and verified by the IELTS teams with both IDP and British Council IELTS. They'll be checking it to the same standardized procedure. So there's no leniency, there's no easiness. It will be checked and verified. Number 4, more complicated vocabulary will always help you get a higher grade. The answer to this one is yes, but also simultaneously no. You only need to use vocabulary that is relevant and suitably complicated, but it also needs to be used accurately and doesn't facilitate communication. Sometimes candidates think if I use these long, flowery, big worded phrases and I use complicated vocabulary throughout my entire sentence, I will impress the examiner. I'll be showing off. And maybe the examiner is thinking, well, actually, native English speakers don't sound like this. And really the meaning of what they were trying to say was bogged down by how complicated it was. So my answer to that is only use complicated vocabulary as accurately as you can and as appropriately as you can. If you're not sure what that is, well then get a native English speaker or another expert IELTS instructor to tell you what is appropriate and what is not. Common myth number 5, and this one is a really big one. Memorizing templates is key to passing the exam. No, no, no. No times a million. There's no shortcut to passing the IELTS exam, guys. The only way you can pass the IELTS exam is with dedication, hard work, improvement, and learning and getting better over time. It's called the learning model. If templates got you to pass the exam, then everyone would be passing the IELTS exam easily, but that's just simply not the case. The main reason why many candidates don't pass the exam sooner and cheaper is because of ineffective preparation. And what I see too much is use this template, apply this to everything, and you will pass. That is simply not the case. The IELTS exam is a skill. And to learn the skill, you have to practice the skill and get better at the skill again and again and again and again. Templates just simply don't work because you're not learning the skill, and every IELTS exam is somewhat different as well. So please don't rely on templates and other freebies as your way of passing the exam, because the opposite will be true. Okay, guys. Hopefully those misconceptions have been realized for you. I also hope that you enjoyed the speaking session today. I want to finish off by telling you a little bit more about how you can get more of what we've done today as part of the Swoosh English Connetics USA IELTS Scholarship, which, as Tanya has said today, is completely free if you join up to us as part of our scholarship program. So let's have a look in terms of what would you get in the scholarship program. Well, you get access to a complimentary IELTS review course. There are free IELTS classes weekly, Monday to Friday, in all skills, including mock exam speaking sessions like what we did today. You get access to free study groups and 3 study partners. The Swoosh English team will help you be matched with someone at the same time zone, similar other aspects to that as well. We get access to a free Facebook group. It's a very, very popular group called the Connetics Swoosh English IELTS Support Group. We post other content, other video content, and motivational message to you every single day. We'll place you in a free Telegram group as well, once again, for you to get to know your other IELTS scholarship students who are from Connetics as well. We'll motivate you, we'll match you with study buddies, we'll give you a direct line to have any queries answered by the Connetics and Swoosh English teams. There's a Connetics IELTS support specialist as well for you to bounce your queries off and help you with any questions that you might have. And also, Connetics hold a monthly raffle to give access to a free IELTS scholarship every single month. A bit more detail about what our in-house course consists of. Well, there's 8 modules with 8 milestone tests to ensure you're learning the appropriate IELTS skills. Writing has been identified as being one of the toughest parts of IELTS writing, of the IELTS exam itself. And in our course, you'll get access to 20 writing corrections marked by our expert native English speaking teachers, anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you can't attend any of the classes for whatever reason, you're all busy professionals, well, everything's recorded for you. And you can watch back the IELTS live class recordings at any time, whenever you are free, making it fully flexible around your needs and examples. You'll get access to mock exams and sample essays to actually do the IELTS exam in mock exam scenarios well ahead. So you should be well versed when it comes to the big day of taking the exam. We'll give you access to speaking partners in our mock exam speaking class, as well as outside of the sessions that you can do your own speaking practice as well. And as I said, there's around-the-clock support from Swoosh and Connetics and more to get access to all the support and help that you need. As you can see, we have 3 candidates on today who had passed the IELTS exam through the scholarship with us at Swoosh English and Connetics USA. And we'd love for anyone else who is eligible to become an RN in the USA and get their American journey started to come and join our system for a completely free IELTS review course, which does get passing results. All you have to do is click on the link that says conneticsusa.com/application. Check the links in the chat box on where you're watching. That's conneticsusa.com/application and get your IELTS preparation started today. Why wait? Start now. Do it for free. Do it well. Enjoy the results. Tick it off your box. Get to the USA much, much sooner. So I personally would love to see as many of you in our IELTS review classes as part of Connetics USA ASAP. You'll see me in some of the video courses and some of the sessions. We can do mock speaking practice and more, plus a lot of other things as well. So guys, it's been an absolute pleasure hosting this session today. It's been lovely speaking to all of you, reading your comments as well. And I simply love what I do, helping more candidates pass their IELTS exam. And that's what we at Swoosh English do for Connetics USA and wider. So I hope everyone has a very, very productive Friday. Happy weekends to everyone as well. If you are preparing for the IELTS exam, prepare well, prepare effectively. Remember those common myths and bust them today. I hope to see more of you very, very soon with us for your IELTS review with Swoosh English and Connetics USA. Have a great day, everyone. I'm Scott from Swoosh English. It's been a pleasure. Take care. Have a good day. Thanks very much, and bye-bye.